Am I hot? I'm live?
You're hot.
I'm hot. Am I hot? That's funny. That's something only for my wife to answer. Open up your Bibles, please, to Genesis chapter 5. If you didn't bring one, there's one in the pew in front of you. We have been going through the book of Genesis, so really, we're starting the Bible fresh. And I'm pretty committed to get through Genesis. And who knows, maybe after Genesis, we'll just hop forward to the next book in the Bible and just keep going until we get through the whole book. I'm thinking that's what I want to do. And the first few chapters of Genesis really clashed heads with everything we learned in biology class. And so we took a look at science in the Bible. And if the Bible's correct, then Steve, what do you do about geology? And scientists say it takes millions of years and this, that, and the next thing. We answered all those questions. And if those things are interesting to you, then you'll want to order the CDs on that sort of stuff. And then today we're going to hit another topic that's kind of confusing to people. And hopefully by the time we're done this morning, it'll all be straightened out. So we're in Genesis chapter 5, and I'm going to read. This is the written account of Adam's line. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them. And when they were created, he called them man. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. And after Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived 930 years, and then he died. And when Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enoch. And after he became the father of Enoch, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived 912 years, and then he died. So people will come to this in the Bible and say, come on, this cannot be true. This must be a myth. There's no way people live 900 years. Now, let me ask you a question. How do you know? And your first response will probably be, because I don't know anybody who's lived 900 years. Oh, so because you don't know anybody who's lived 900 years, it couldn't possibly happen. I don't know any billionaires. They must not exist. Now, people have told me they exist, but I've never met one. Steve, this is something different. I can understand how people can get lots of money, but I can't understand how somebody can live 900 years. So it's not whether you know it, it's whether you can understand it. Reality is based on what I can understand. Let me tell you something. If reality was based on what I could understand, we'd all be walking to church. Because I don't know how cars work. And my microwave, my frozen burrito this morning that I had for breakfast, nobody's laughing. You guys eat like that too? Yeah, I got up and looked at the cereal this morning and it looked good, but there was no milk. The fruit basket was empty. Had to have something, so I nuked a frozen burrito. A little sauce on it was good. But how does the microwave work? I don't know. I just press the buttons, it works. See, reality can't be based on what we understand. The question is the Bible trustworthy? Is the book true? Now, if you've just picked it up for the first time, granted, you've got no reason to believe it is true. But people have examined this book, and they have challenged it archaeologically, scientifically, historically, philosophically, morally, and it always comes out on top. This is the book that taught humanity, you shall not lie. You think it's making this stuff up about these guys and lying? Moses, who wrote the Ten Commandments, said don't lie, or said that Enoch lived 900-something years? Or is Moses just a little dense? I think the Bible's trustworthy. And we should be able to trust it whether we can prove something or not. But having said that, how long do you think Adam and Eve would have lived if they never ate that fruit? You see, it says in the Bible that when you eat from that fruit, you will certainly die. So does that mean if they hadn't eaten from the fruit, they never would have died? That's the implication. And here's this Bible verse. Listen to this. Romans 5:12. By one man, sin entered into the world, and death by sin. No sin, no death. So the fact that Adam lived 930 years seems to us a long time, but in light of eternity, he could have lived forever. He had a short life. Only lived 900-something years, and the lifespan started getting shorter and shorter, especially after the flood of Noah. Now, having said that, because I want you to trust the Bible more than theories of men, more than science, and more than your own common sense. But having said that, let me read to you a quote from one of the most popular websites dealing with a new field of science called Negligible Senescence. Senescence means age, negligible age. Listen to this quote. Rockfish, turtles, and whales, it should have said some types of whales, but whales, all documented to live 200 years or longer without showing signs of aging. Scientists have recognized that some animals can live at least 200 years. And when they die, they examine them, and there's no signs of aging. They don't die of old age. They die from sickness. They die from being eaten. They die from having a boat run over them. These things are 200 years old. They're still having babies. If the animal were a human, it'd have no gray hair, no wrinkles, and its back wouldn't hurt. There's no signs of aging, even on the cellular level. And scientists are amazed. Why don't these things get old and die? And they don't know. But they're trying to understand it because they figure if they can figure out how these animals live this long, maybe we could live longer. That's what they think. Maybe they're right. Negligible senescence. They don't age. Not only do they show no signs of aging, but they keep growing. That's why sometimes you'll see this thing on the news about a 40-foot snake or a 20-foot crocodile. Oh, because these things, they just keep growing. Well, why don't we see 400-foot crocodiles? My kids asked me the other day, if some lizards keep growing, how come we don't see Godzilla out in the desert? Well, I look at it this way. It's about this big. It eats crickets, right? But it's also bird food. But if somehow it can avoid the hawks and birds and get this big, now it's coyote food. And it doesn't eat crickets anymore. Now it's got to eat bigger things. And if somehow it can find bigger things to eat and avoid the coyotes and get this big, now it's bobcat food. But what's it eat? So there's things trying to eat it and things it needs to eat. But back in the day when the earth was more peaceful, these lizards got huge. We even made up a name for huge lizards. What is it? Dinosaurs. It weren't like born 400 feet long, these things. They grew. Negligible senescence. It's an amazing field of science. The most long-lived animal ever recorded was a tortoise named King Malila. He was a gift to the royal family of Tonga. He was given to them by Captain Cook, the famous Captain Cook in 1777. That's not Captain Kirk, Captain Cook. In 1777, this family got this tortoise as a gift. It died May 19th, 1966. This tortoise died when I was alive, and it could have known Benjamin Franklin and George Washington. Now, how stinking amazing is that? So, now you look at the Bible, and it doesn't sound so silly anymore. There are things that still live a long time. Animals, plants. I taught you a few weeks ago about the redwood trees that grow 20 to 30 stories tall, and not one redwood tree has ever found to have died of natural causes, not one. They just keep growing bigger and taller. They get disease, maybe they'll fall down. Somebody chops them down, maybe they'll fall down. But they just don't die. They keep going. And the oldest one they found is 4,000 years old. So in light of 4,000 years, Adam living to 900 years, he had a short life. Negligible senescence. ScienceDaily.com did a report last year on what they discovered to be the world's oldest living tree. It was a spruce tree. They dated it to 9,550 years. Now, somehow I think that's a little old. Maybe they're off by a few hundred years. They think this tree is 10,000 years old. And people are telling me the Bible's a fairy tale because men lived a few hundred years. I'm telling you, quit listening to what people say when they question the Bible. The Bible knows what it's about. God is true. It can be trusted.